Hello, cadets. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Academy. We are doing our week 6 starts, sits, and sleepers. You got Johnny, John, and Blake, and we are here to give you that league winning advice and help make some picks for this week. So, we're going to quickly recap some of the advice. Well, we didn't put an episode together last week, but we're going to recap our best calls. Our week 5, I called out Brees Hall. I think that was an easy one going against the Broncos, my team, but had a huge week last week. Blake picked DeAndre Hopkins, who actually looks really classic and seems like he's developing chemistry with Tannehill. And then I think we all actually smashed on our sits, but Blake telling you to sit Miles Sanders might have saved your life. And so those are some of the big calls we made from last week, and we're here to do it again. So we're going to start with our sit or our starts for week 6. Blake, why don't you start and tell us who you're excited to fire up if you've got on your team?
Yeah, let's get back into it after a little break in week 5. Ready to rock and roll. For week 6, my start of the week is Chris Godwin. I think he's going to see an uptick in volume with Mike Evans being a little banged up. He's practicing in a limited fashion. Even if he plays, I like Godwin to maybe have his best game of the year. He's been a consistent part of your lineup, but I think this week he could really take that next step and potentially win you a week. He's got a 25% target share already, and like I said, I think that number will go up. Could be a sneaky high scoring game too against the Lions. Lions are getting their studs back. Some of them they're getting Raw back. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Laporta might miss, but they're going to be able to score. They're on a roll right now, and I think the Bucs are going to have to throw to stay in that game, and I think they'll be able to throw effectively. The Lions can stop the run, but they can't really stop the pass. They're 14th in the league, giving up points to the wide receivers, and they're third. The third best matchup for slot receivers, which Godwin still plays. He's kind of playing less in the slot this year, but 30% of his snaps are still coming from the slot. So I expect him to be all over the field in that matchup. I like the over in that game. I think that's a smart bet, and I think he's gonna win you a week this week.
Baker looks good too. That's
hmm
that's something I think we all had Baker ranked as our 32nd QB.
Ha!
So we're
hmm
all wrong there. I think
So
he's a little closer
generous.
to the top. Yeah. So he's playing good. That always helps the wide receivers out.
We're wrong for now. We've seen this before. Baker, this is the Baker cycle. He
Very
signs a
true.
new team, plays really well, gets a new contract, and then stinks. But we'll see how long it lasts. I think it'll last
Right.
obviously through this week.
Yeah, I like the call on Godwin. You know, that's music to my ears.
He's your
We've got
boy.
YouTube videos where I've said I think he's just a fantastic player, fantastic route runner. I've got him in 2 redraft leagues, so I will follow your advice this week. I was probably planning to start him anyways, but I mean, if you've got guys like Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, those are some of the guys who are like same type of projections, but I'm gonna lean on Godwin. So love it. John, you want to give us your start for week 6?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, on week 6, I'm going to be starting. The start of the week is going to be James Cook, and he actually had a pretty miserable week last week against Jacksonville. But he's got a juicy matchup against the Giants. I think game script is going to be in his favor this week. He also has a solid floor, as always, in the passing game. He usually catches 3-4 balls a game. So I expect them to bounce back. The Giants are ranked 24th against running backs, giving up that many points per game. So I fully expect James Cook to bounce back. He had like negative yards against Jacksonville last week. I don't expect that to be a trend to continue. So James Cook, start of the week, lock it in.
Yeah, great start, great matchup. Cook's talented. Last week's concerning a little bit just because lost some snaps to Murray in that game.
He
Even
did.
though it was close game, they lost that game. You would like to see more third down work from Cook, but I think it's a pass protection issue. He missed a couple of blocks in that game and got Allen killed almost. And I think they like Murray as a runner too. So I like Cook this week just because the matchup is just beautiful, and I think they're going to be up a bunch and running the ball.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, I think the one pause for me is like I always love picking running backs when possible who you know are going to have like above 70% snap share. Because like if I watch the games, right, and I don't want to be sitting there watching the games and seeing my guy coming on and off the field and being like,
Kills me.
did I care or not? Because I don't care this flag when he's not on there. So I have guys like ETN, Kyron Williams, right? Like a guy like Kyron, I don't love the talent, but as long as he's playing that snaps chair, like I might lean towards someone like him over James Cook. But I still think the talent with James Cook is like electric, kind of like Jameer Gibbs. It's like, why don't they? I get that they can't be the guy, but it's 2023. Like, let's start using these guys more explosively, right? So, okay, cool. So for my week 6 start, I'm picking old man. I guess he's like only 35. Matthew Stafford against the Cardinals, and I think first off, like the weapons he's got. Cup back. Cup played a ton of snaps last week. Drew a ton of targets. The chemistry was there. Puka is obviously the real deal. They've got Atwell. They've got good weapons. Kyron can catch the ball. And I don't have the stats to prove it, but I feel like there's more touchdowns coming for Matthew Stafford. Like there was, like I have watched some of these games, and there's a lot of handing it to Kyron at the 1 or even 5 yard line. When if you've watched the Rams and McVay offense for years past, like they dial up tight end stuff. They pass a lot near the goal line, and I think maybe they've known that teams might be expecting that and just trying to change it up a little bit. But I think you can see some positive touchdown regression for Matthew Stafford. And like the Cardinals seem to maybe be somewhat like the Broncos of a get right game, right? Burrow just lit them up last week. I do expect it to be a bit of a shootout. And I think, Dobbs has been able to move the ball to some people's surprise, but they're playing decent football in Arizona. So if it's a bye week, you've got injuries to people like Anthony Richardson, maybe Deshaun Watson's not allowed to play, Daniel Jones, etc. I think Stafford's a great potential QB1 finish this week.
Oh yeah. Stafford has been playing out of his mind, and he's just got his best weapon back. Puka looks amazing. Yeah, I lock it in. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he had 3 touchdowns this game with 300 yards.
Yeah, Johnny, I had the exact same thought as you. I just dropped Russell Wilson for Stafford in redraft to have him on my bench. I'd play him this week if I didn't have Kirk Cousins, but I had the exact same thought with touchdown regression. He's throwing the ball like 45 times a game. You don't need stats to figure out that when there's that kind of volume, the touchdowns are going to go up when the player's talented and he's got weapons around him. Crazy Cup coming back and just immediately being that guy again. Dude, that was beautiful to watch, and it was beautiful to watch Puka still put up his numbers and Atwell getting in the end zone. I disagree with you, John. I don't think Stafford's playing out of his mind right now. He's throwing some picks. He only has 1 game with multiple touchdown passes, and definitely room for improvement. I think it starts this week. And He's played tough opponents too. San Francisco, Philly. Philly's pass defense is
He
exploitable.
played Seahawks at home. I mean,
Seahawks
was
at
pretty
home.
tough.
Yeah,
I mean,
they play tough, but
to
they're
kind of
secondary strong,
recorrect
though.
myself, I just my bar for Stafford going to the season was really low, and I didn't
Yeah,
expect
no,
him.
I'm on John's side with this. Like, I think he's been balling out, and he
Yeah, he looks good.
looks stronger
Yeah.
than I expected him to look, more mobile than I expected him to look. So I mean, yeah, I get there's elements to both sides, but okay, let's keep moving. Let's get into our sits for week 6. Um, John, do you want to lead us off?
Let's do it. Yeah, so my sit for week 6 is going to be Damian Pierce. Um, comes at no surprise. I think I actually mentioned him a couple weeks ago as one of my sits as well. He's been struggling all
Yes.
season. He's been pretty awful. The Saints are only allowing 15 points to the running back position fantasy wise, that's pretty
Brutal
incredible.
matchup.
And Damian Pierce at this moment in time has not scored 15 points on a week yet. So it's a brutal matchup. He hasn't been running well. Maybe they'll figure something out on their bye week. But as of now, I don't know how you start this guy, even if Damian Pierce was going against the Broncos. I mean, that might be the only time I start him. But right now,
I'm firing him up.
yeah. but this team is really stingy against the run, and yeah, Pierce is going to be on my bench this week.
Yeah, that's a brutal matchup. I think the one thing I did gather was that last week he got all the carries, like 100% of the rush attempts, and he had 24 in week 4 as well. So I think there's been a slight change, and they are giving him more work, but it hasn't necessarily led, to your point, fantasy points, which is what we care about most. I think it's a great call.
Yeah, he's projected at like 12.5 points too. I think it's a great call for him to score less than that.
To hit the under. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, could fall into the end zone, right? And it
True.
could make it a tougher call, but I think you're on a good path there. My week 6 Brees Hall. And that's my week 5 start of the week, and he nailed a home run for us. He had a great game against the Broncos, so it's going to be hard to say, oh, wait, this guy's not a must start moving forward, right? It's the Eagles. Like, they have a great run defense, a great defensive line, and I expect them to try and test Zach Wilson and try and stuff the run and force him to pass. And when they're passing, they are turning to Michael Carter, and he is still getting a lot of that passing down work. Brees Lightning is only playing 50% of the snaps, right? So if this game script gets out of hand, which I think it could, get late a little early with the Eagles and the Jets, then you're potentially looking at a scenario where they're playing catch up and leaning on their passing game. And I really think where Brees excels is on the ground, right? And he can certainly a great pass catching back. I think they should be using him in that regard, but I think you'd be depending on that more than him and his amazing way to like find runs and break long runs. I just don't see. I think that's what you're depending on for him to be productive at this point with the recovery and how they're using him. And this is a tough week to bet on him running on that Eagles defense. So I'm trying to sit him if possible. Yeah, that's my justification, but it's tough because he is a great player.
Yeah, Eagles defense is going to get better this week too. They are getting Fletcher Cox and Nakobe Dean back, so even harder of a task for Brees Hall to try and penetrate that D line. You hope that the talent wins out and that they decide to throw the ball to him a little bit more. I think Cook has proven that he is not going to be anywhere close to a one 1A 1B. Yeah, like so. Hopefully we see a little uptick in the snaps, uptick in the targets, and Brees Hall can get. I don't think he's going to have a top 3 finish of the season for him, but hopefully he can get 12, 15 yards. I have to start him in Dynasty. I'm a little bit more optimistic just because love the player, love the talent, but that
the talent is there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are one of these things where you have a guy that's so talented and you probably drafted him pretty early. He's probably your running back 2, possibly your running back 1 if you didn't go wide receiver. But if you do have the depth, you gotta think about sitting him this week. Potentially, I know with bye weeks and injuries, it's going to be hard, but he could give you a stinker. So,
yeah, and I'll be the first to say, like, I am so sold on the guy. I think what he's doing his first year back from an ACL injury is like absolutely unreal. Couldn't root for him more, and I'd love to be wrong and be like, damn, this guy is that good, where he can even make the Eagles look like idiots, right? But I'm not there quite yet. I think they just lost one of their key offensive linemen, Elijah Vera Tucker, for the year, right? So I think it could be a really tough game, and I would want to avoid the Jets offensive players if possible. But okay, let's keep moving.
I would start Garrett Wilson because you can. I think he's a sneaky start this week. I think the Eagles passing defense is exploitable. But yeah, you're trying to sit the other guys for sure.
Dude, even Wilson that's been tough. You know what I mean? For if
I
you
think
were
it's
a
a
guy
little
who,
bit better than I would have expected just after Rodgers went down. I think I was surprised that he's putting in PPR. He's been okay.
yeah, I mean, it was. I guess I'm sour because of last week. I kind of needed him, and
Hmm.
he didn't really do much. And I don't know. I guess they really did shadow him last week, the Broncos, with Surtain more than I
Mm.
expected, and Surtain was effective, which is kind of funny to me. Like, I'm like, okay, you got cooked by Tyreek Hill badly, but now you can clamp Wilson. So maybe that's more
Tyreek's a cheat
indicative of,
code.
yeah, but uh, there are really levels to this, is my point. And he is
Mm.
as good as Wilson is. I think that's kind of was a sign to me, like, dude, we're talking to totally different worlds.
Mm.
So okay, your week 6 sit, Blake. Get into it with us, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit Darren Waller this week, if you can. I mean, the position is tough to find serviceable replacements, but and he had his best game of the season with 16 points last week, but um, it's just not a good matchup against the Bills. They're the third best defense against the position, and they just shut down Evan Ingram last week in a game where Jacksonville was throwing the ball effectively. They shut down the tight end. They lost Matt Milano, but the backup came in and did his job, played really well. Their safeties are with Poyer. They cover the middle of the field really well. I think with Daniel Jones being banged up, Tyrod Taylor stepping in, I don't think it gets any better. I don't know if it could get any worse, but it definitely doesn't get any better this week. If Barkley doesn't play and they can't run the ball, I don't think there's going to be much hope for that offense to move the ball. So yeah, I'm gonna sit Waller this week and hope that there's better things on the waiver wire. Maybe guys that you can find. I don't have the list off the top of my head. Do you guys have any ideas of who they could replace Waller with?
How about Ferguson?
Yeah, Jake Ferguson getting targets. If he's not rostered, I don't. What is his roster percentage?
He's
Ferguson.
actually still on waivers in one
Yeah,
of my 10 team
67%.
Yeah, he
So
could be on there.
drafts.
He could be around. Um,
interesting, maybe Tyler Conklin. Honestly, in that same
ooh,
same matchup, the Jets. Conklin's getting in a tight end premium format. He's been money. I'm starting him this week in a full tight end premium league in my second flex. He's a potential sneaky start that maybe I would look to over Waller.
what about
It's
Zach
kind of a
Ertz?
bold decision. Ertz too. Yeah, I would definitely start Ertz over Waller
Yeah,
this week. Yes,
Ertz.
Ertz
Ertz is
looks like
probably more
the.
rostered though.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get Ertz, but yeah.
I like the sit because it's kind of spicy. To your point, it's such a shit position. It's like, that's one of the guys who we had everyone had in their top 5 at the position going into the year. So to urge you guys to look elsewhere, we're not afraid to be bold with our takes, right? I think there's some really good thought put into that by Blake that is a tough defense. Uh, Daniel Jones being out, it just could be really tough sledding for Waller. I will say, I watched that Jags game against the Bills last week, and did that defense get decimated throughout the game? Like, I think they lost like 6 players, and to your
Mhm.
point, Milano, others, and so by the end of the game, ETN is just running up and down the field untouched, and I think it
Yeah.
did show that they were back down to their depth players, and so that's just one thing to think about. But
One
I don't hate
one other
it
note
all.
as well. Waller's got a groin issue too that just popped up. It's a
Right.
new injury. He's gonna probably play through it, and that's kind of the main thing too. Is like now there's questions about his health again.
Like
And Bills,
30% of the snaps and screw
yeah,
you.
yeah, I think the Bills will still be tough too. They got a lot of guys on the D line and and their corners, but that's on the outside. I think
Yeah.
Waller plays in the slot a lot. He's not even playing tight end. He's playing slot receiver. I think Poyer shuts him down this week.
Yeah, and Micah Hyde too, I think is
Yeah,
their
so
other
and
safe.
the Bills
Both are good
they
players,
have
huh?
given up less than 20 catches and less than 150 yards through 5 weeks. I mean, they're just
To the
absolutely
tight
stuffed
end
at the
position.
position. Yeah, to the tight end position.
Where are you getting this data, dude? That's pretty good stuff.
I got my sources.
He's not giving it up, bro.
We're staying up all night to put those numbers together to spoon feed you league winning advice. So, with that being said, we're gonna get into our sleepers of the week. If you're in a 12-team league with us with 2 flexes, you might gotta get creative with that second flex, right? Not me, because your boy is deep. I'm deep in our league because I hit on some of those deep darts. But I'm just kidding, guys. But we'll have to do an episode one day where we talk about like how the league that the 3 of us are in is unfolding and stuff. You know what I mean?
I'll just mention that I'm 4-1 in that league. We don't have to get into it, but I'm in first place.
I'll just mention my team is super average. I'm having a
Ever heard of a guy
week.
named Puka Nakua? Yeah, my team has heard of him. So I just
Go rub it in.
anyway.
I was trying to pick him up.
So funny. Week 6 sleepers. John, you want to lead us off, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna start. If I'm not gonna start, but if you need help at the position, Foreman is a guy I would think about starting in week 6. As you know, we have Johnson, which is in concussion protocol. He actually just missed practice today, so he is in serious doubt of missing the game today. Game on Sunday. And as well as Herbert, Herbert's already ruled out as well. So Foreman is the last man standing in this running back depleted room. I believe the last game they played, there was a fullback getting touches at the end of that game. So Foreman's back. He's a nice dart throw. Chicago's averaging 26 rushing attempts per game, which is pretty middle of the pack on when we're talking about NFL teams. But 26 rushing attempts. If he's the last guy standing, he could potentially get 20 plus touches in this game. It's against the Vikings, so it's not ideally the greatest matchup against running backs. But if you're in a tough spot, Foreman could be a guy that you could throw into your lineup. Listen, I started Curtis Samuel last week as a dart throw. It worked out, so.
You should listen to me.
Yeah.
I love it. That one's spicy. I think we're all hoping, like, just for the sake of watching good football, that Rashawn Johnson can clear concussion protocol and get back, right? I think that was a Thursday game, so he should have had a little extra time. But yeah, it doesn't. Missing practice on a Thursday is not a good sign. So good point. I actually love the call. I think this is maybe just a week thing, though, right? Like this is the guy. If you're adding him, you're not expecting this to be like Josh Reynolds, where we told you he was our week 1 sleeper, and he's just a sleeper that just keeps on giving, right? I think we had Adam Thielen on our sleepers at one point. So some of these guys become a thing, is my point. I don't know if Foreman is going to become a thing this year with Johnson, I think, being the better player, and then also Herbert will eventually come back. So, but yeah, I love the call for this week. Potentially, if Johnson's ruled out,
I wish Johnson was still playing. I would love to see him.
Now, if you need to win. Yeah, me too. Okay.
What's interesting is that Foreman actually, this happened last year, and he became a thing for a couple weeks. He had a couple 30-point games after CMC got traded. So we'll see.
Yeah, none of us are allowed to rush to what's it called right now, to sleeper and pick him up, but he is actually, guys, available in the 3
I might pick him up, bro.
In the double flex 12-team league. We are all 3 in. I'm just saying, like, that's how deep we're getting with this sleeper pick. So I love that, John.
John's doing it.
I'm picking him up right
now. Fuck. I shouldn't say anything, but honestly, I'm so deep that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to drop
anybody to drop.
Or anybody that. Just for that week or 2, I don't need him that bad, but
it's done.
It is done. It is done. Okay, so I love it, dude. It's like you knew
just
he was a sleeper before we recorded this, but now you just talked yourself into it.
Boys, I'm not giving you just advice that I wouldn't take. I've actually put it in my starting lineup just now, so I'm on the boat with you if you put Foreman in your lineup.
Yeah, skin is in the game. All right. Blake, you want to give us your week 6 sleeper? I'll give Blake credit where it's due. He hits on almost every single sleeper every single week. Everyone should turn the volume up. I actually don't like this pick that he's got, but I'm like, dude, he's on to. He must know something. So let's hear it.
Yeah, my trap card. Yeah, my trap card is getting you 30-point sleepers. Week 1 was Josh Reynolds. Week 2 was Adam Thielen. Week 3 was Nico Collins. I keep calling breakout receivers. This week, I'm capitalizing on the same juicy matchup that I've been capitalizing on all year, and that's the slot receiver against the Seattle Seahawks. They're giving up 21.9 points a week to the slot receiver position. Julian Love, Michael Jackson. These are the types of players. They're bottom of the league in PFF grades. They're just really bad at doing their jobs. They've 21.9 is 5 more points than the next team. Like it's not even close. Like they're just getting torched. And the next team's Minnesota, who gave up 50 points to Adam Thielen in the slot, and they're still 5 points behind the Seahawks. It is the one thing that you can count on week to week is that the slot receiver against the Seahawks is going to eat. And that this week it's Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd has played the second most slot snaps in the league. If T. Higgins plays, it's still fire, but T. Higgins might not play. If T. Higgins doesn't play, honestly, Trent Irwin can become a potential sleeper. If you're in like a 14-16 team league, I would think about picking up Trent Irwin this week. He had 10 targets last week. He had like 16 fantasy points and could look to do that again if Higgins misses. If Higgins plays, Tyler Boyd still is going to play 80% of the snaps. They run 3 wide receivers, and once again, the matchup is so juicy. I think if you could get Tyler Boyd in your lineup this week, I think he can really help you.
I think I just got an alert not too long ago promising that Higgins will be playing this week. So
it's promising.
Yeah.
He burned me last year. They said he was going to be fine. He came in and played 2 snaps and then left. If he plays, he's going to be on a snap count. Yeah. So
never forget.
Yeah. And he said it was. I think he said that. Like he said it was promising. I don't think the coaches said that. We'll see what happens. But like I said, even if he does play, I honestly think probably it maybe opens up the middle of the field a little bit more. Maybe even more excited for Boyd if they're all healthy.
Okay, I like it.
I don't know. My one kind of counterpoint is like they play Chase a lot in the slot, and I think this just sounds like you're saying Chase is going to score 50 points again.
Yeah, Chase is going to absolutely. He could put back-to-back 50-point games. Like honestly, like he's going to put up 60 this week, probably. But no, but Boyd plays in the slot, dude. He's second in the league in slot snaps. He's gonna live in the slot. Yeah. And he's only owned in 60% of leagues right now, so you can definitely go out and get him and redraft if you need him. I think he's going to help you win a week.
Let's all just cry a tear for T. Higgins being sort of garbage, just like I said. Yeah,
I was wrong about that. For now.
I'm just kidding. No, here's the thing. He's a boomer bust guy, almost like Gabe Davis is. Like it's like he can drop a donut when he's running 90% of the snaps for some reason.
Except you drafted him in the second.
Game. Yeah, no, I mean, too much risk for me. I was extremely low on him. We had an episode where we walked through our rankings.
We talked through it. Yeah.
And so, sorry, just like rejoicing some of the takes that that come to life a little more. And yeah, admittedly, Blake liked him a little bit more than I did. And I think we had a 5-minute discourse about it.
Yeah, you won that one. And you won the Gabe Davis one. So good for you.
Yeah, dude, as of now, for sure, top 15 guy. I said that to you the other day. I'm like, Gabe Davis is a top 15 receiver. Life is good. I don't like Gabe Davis like that, but you were like too low on him, and I'm like,
I was a bit low. I underestimated the foot injury and how severe it was last year.
He looks like a different player. Yeah, and he's a physical receiver, and he can move, and I do like him a little bit, but not too much. But anyways, week 6, I'll close it out. My week 6 sleeper is Chuba Hubbard. And I think it's because at this point, it's Miles Sanders deals with a lot of injuries too, gets banged up, doesn't always play as many snaps as he should if he does play. I think he's going to be out. I think you should plan for that now, especially if you're a Sanders owner. But like, if again you're looking to get creative with your lineup and Chuba's out there, he's definitely owned in some leagues. I didn't look up exactly how many. Maybe I will now, but the Chuba, I think he's going to play a lot of the snaps if he does. If what's his face is out, yeah, he's only 37% rostered, so he's certainly out there to be had. They're up against the Miami Dolphins this week, who they're not some second coming on defense. They do allow running backs to score points on them through the air and through the ground. So if Chuba's playing like bell cow snaps, and they're getting trounced, it could actually be almost a good thing because Young likes to dump it down a lot. I think Chuba could get some passing volume and score some sneaky points for you if you're in a pinch. So I like him as a sleeper this week. I don't think he's going to score 50 points or anything, but I like sometimes having a guy who I'm like, all right, he's going to have a role. He'll have a certain floor, and regardless of game script, he should be somewhat, have that floor established. So that's my take on why I like Chuba as like a deep sleeper. But not, as you can tell by the tone of my voice, I'm not overly excited about it. But it's still good enough if you need it. But I actually like some of the guys you picked, the two of you, and so we'll just have to see how it all shakes out though.
We'll laugh about it next week.
Yeah, the hits and the misses. We will recap next week how we did, and we'll give you some more. But good luck winning your leagues this week. Hopefully, you guys take some of the things, the data points, the trends we're seeing, and are able to apply those to make informed decisions and win your leagues. And we will talk to you guys next week. All right, take care, everyone.
See ya.